In this video, I want to talk about the deionized water tank that I use professionally, as well as how to avoid water spots on car paint, even if you cannot afford a DI tank now that we are getting into the warmer months of the detailing calendar. But before I get into that, make sure you guys go below in the YouTube description box if you are ready to jump into my private program, the 6-Figure Ceramic System. Access has been closed for over a year. We just opened access last Thursday, and everything's closing down this Thursday at midnight. So depending on when you're watching this, it could have already passed, but if you're watching it before Thursday at midnight, you've got maybe 48 hours, maybe 12 hours, maybe 2 hours. So I want to make sure you guys don't lose access to that, as it has been closed for just about a year. And if you are ready to scale to 6 figures in your detailing business, or you're ready to start with the playbook that's going to give you exactly what you need to scale to 6 figures, not to mention we have literally launched more bonuses, including software tools, discounts, and everything else you can possibly think of than anyone has ever seen in a launch that we've done of the private program. So you got to go below in the YouTube description box, check out the link to see all of those bonuses, and I will see you inside the program if you make it in before we close everything down Thursday at midnight. Now, the black SUV you see me doing here is a perfect example of a nightmare for a mobile detailer who's detailing in the direct sun, because if you're foaming it, if you're washing it, it's the easiest thing to get water spots on, especially in the summertime. So just to demystify deionized water tanks here, the one that I use is from a company called Spot Free Water Systems. The reason why I haven't talked about it all that much on the channel or on social media pages is because it was actually relatively hard to get. It wasn't really available on Amazon, and it wasn't available on any like website that I super trusted. So you can see it here now. I saw the other day, or actually, sorry, a few months ago, that it's actually available on Car Supplies Warehouse. And so they are a fantastic online retailer of all things detailing products. So I'll link it up in the YouTube description box below. This is the DI tank that I use. So number one thing I want to point out about DI tanks is, generally speaking, the only thing that really differentiates them is the size of the DI tank, because there's no real chemical differentiation between the material inside of the DI tank that actually deionizes the water. The biggest difference in terms of performance that you're going to get between DI tanks, if you use different ones, is the size of the DI tank, because the amount of resin that the DI tank can fit is going to determine how often you can use the DI tank to wash before you have to change out the resin. The other big factor is how hard the water is, or how many mineral deposits you're going to find in the water. So based on, different parts of the country, you might have more issues or less issues, but again, the size of the DI tank is what is kind of the biggest deal, okay? This is called the Pro 100, and they also have something called the Pro 50. They're both available on Car Supplies Warehouse, I believe, and the Pro 50 is basically just half the size of this tank, and I'm thinking about getting the Pro 50 as well, just to show it on the channel so you guys can see. For mobile detailers, it's a really fantastic thing because it's even less heavy than the Pro 100, so it is what I suggest. Now, that's basically all anybody can ever say about DI tanks. They are amazing, and you're going to see that after this, I'm going to show you how the water just sat on the paint. I let it dry, and I'm going to show you the after result. There's literally not even one water spot, so I can't suggest DI tanks enough. But the problem is, for those of you who cannot afford a DI tank, or right now just don't think it's a wise investment, which I totally understand, though I think that it is one of the top 3 things, including things like a steamer and a vacuum, that you should have if you are mobile, because it's going to change the game for you so much. There is a product from a company called Superior Products called Formula 4 Spray Wax. I've shown it many times on the channel because I think it's kind of the 9th wonder of the world. You guys know that I love basically bringing in products that are like industrial grade, overbuilt products that are designed for like automated car washes or in the body shop world. I'm going to be doing that a lot more this year as well, because I've got a lot of things on the docket. The Formula 4 Spray Wax for automated car washes. If you've ever taken your car through an automated car wash, you'll know that there are these giant blowers at the end when the car is rolling out. So after they rinse it, they blow the car off, and you might have noticed the water just like beads up and rolls off. It's like, why is that? It's because they spray the chemical Formula 4 Spray Wax on the car after your car is rinsed, and it causes the water to bead up, causes this hydrophobic property to form, this hydrophobic barrier to form on the paint, and basically it doesn't keep water spots from forming, but because it beads the water up, it gives you more rinsing time. And so I will put Formula 4 Spray Wax diluted like 5-to-1 or 10-to-1 inside of a pressurized pump sprayer, and as I'm rinsing an SUV like this, as you can see, I will, right after I'm done rinsing, spray the Formula 4 Spray Wax on top of the paint and literally just let it sit in direct sun. It doesn't even matter if the Formula 4 Spray Wax dries on the paint, because once you activate it with water, it will easily come off of the paint, or you could just reactivate it with a little more chemical as well, and you'll get the same effect. You're not going to get any staining on the paint. So you can spray it on hot paint, and again, it doesn't keep water spots from forming, but you'll see it causes the water that you used to rinse the car paint with to bead up. Therefore, it extends your rinsing time because it's not sitting flat, drying really quickly. The other thing that I will say is that you can spray Formula 4 Spray Wax on top of, for example, what you see right here, which is after I've done an agitation wash and there's just a bunch of leftover soap sitting on the paint. You can still spray Formula 4 Spray Wax on top of all of that, so that when you go to rinse, which is what you see me doing now, the water's already beading up. So you can have like soiled soap on the paint. I've shown people this all the time because this is a great way to combine 2 steps as a mobile detailer trying to get through cars during the day. And as you're rinsing it, you already have the chemical on the paint. So basically what I do is go rinse. I've got the water beating up, and then I'll take a really really great big drying towel to each side of the car, and I'll dry it really, really quickly. The other thing that happens is that this is a spray wax, right? And so it leaves this hyper glossy finish on the paint as well. Now I want to take a second just to show you guys on the windows, on the black paint, on all the cars, you can see I've got tons of water, okay? This is very, very hard water as well, okay? But it's gone through the deionized water system. And so this is the benefit to having a DI water tank here. I'm not going to wipe this water off, and I'm showing it to you just for dramatic effect here. Again, black paint on the glass, all things that we hate as mobile detailers. And you're gonna see afterwards what it looks like, where I literally let it dry in the sun, and the DI water tank, there's a lot of power in it. Now, full disclosure to you guys, I will say, if you were to ask me the question, what's one thing you wish you would have done earlier in your detailing business as a mobile guy, I would have said, get a DI water tank. This is one of those purchases that just makes a ton of sense. The resin is relatively inexpensive to replace, and I think people overestimate how quickly they're gonna go through the resin. And even if you do go through it relatively quickly, I'm telling you, the amount of just headache that this saves, having a DI water tank, is something that is really, really hard to overstate. Okay, it's very, very, very helpful, and I would have done this literally years before I actually did. So I know all the workarounds, but in this case, I would just say don't do the workarounds, just get the DI water tank. Guys, as always, I will hook up all the stuff I used in the YouTube description box below, and remember, we've just opened up access to the 6-figure ceramic system. If you're ready to scale your detailing business to 6 figures, there is no comparable detailing program that will give you the power back in your business without you having to hire a marketing agency, waste money on paid ads, or overspend on tools and products and certifications that don't build you a real business. This is exactly what I did to scale my detailing business from 30,000 to over 110,000 in less than 9 months of implementing this strategy, and we've done it in literally hundreds of other detailing businesses at this point. The link to join is in the YouTube description box below. Get in before everything closes Thursday at midnight.